Okay, today we are going to discuss anger and anger management skills. The objectives of today's lesson are to identify what makes you angry and what are your triggers, be able to know your anger cues and style, and lastly, we will learn how to manage your anger effectively. Everybody gets angry, and that's okay, perfectly normal. You're going to feel how you feel, but how you act in these circumstances is up to you. This matters because our actions always lead to consequences. Let's talk triggers. What bugs you? So what gets under your skin? Students will then throw out words or sayings as to what gets under their skin and will be told that it's okay to not get angry about something others may get angry about. What triggers you may not trigger someone else, and this is perfectly normal. So at this point, I'll be writing on the board what triggers the students. Once you know your anger triggers, then you can either avoid them or learn how to deal with them. So which option sounds better? Avoiding or dealing? The correct answer is to deal with them appropriately. In what ways could you handle your anger? Students will then throw out healthy ideas such as exercise, reading, taking a bath, talking with a friend, etc. Students will be asked to make a list in their notebooks in order for them to reference later on when they may be dealing with a situation where they are angry. What are anger cues? Anger cues are signs you may experience due to emotions related to anger. Your body sends you signals when you are getting angry. Such cues include clenched fists, racing and pounding heartbeat, sweating, loud vocals, red face, and sometimes upset stomach. These are signs of becoming angry and experiencing anger. It is important to identify these physiological signs so we can best manage our feelings of anger before we do or say something we may regret. Next, we're going to be talking about your anger styles. Your anger style is how you handle a situation when you become angry. When your anger is triggered, you're going to react in some way. 3 anger styles we will focus on are acting out, dumping, and burying. These are the 3 typical ways we react when we are feeling angry, and as you will learn, they're probably not the best ways to handle anger. First, we're going to be discussing acting out. Acting out is the easiest anger style to recognize. It is when you strike out at the person you are mad at in a physical or verbal way. This style is when you are out of control. This style is one in which you will experience negative consequences. Additionally, this style does not solve any problems, and anger will likely return regarding whatever the situation may be. Next, we're going to talk about dumping. Dumping is also known as displaced anger. This means you are shifting your feelings onto someone you feel is safe to be mad at, such as your mom, dad, a sibling, or maybe your best friend. For example, a man gets mad at his boss at work and then comes home and yells at his wife and kids. This style is also ineffective because you're hurting loved ones who have not done anything deserving of your anger, and again, the problem is still not going to be solved. The last anger style we will be discussing is called burying, also known as ignoring. When you hold your anger down inside yourself because you think it is not appropriate to have these feelings. This is recognized as denying your feelings, and oftentimes the anger will come out in other ways such as headaches, stomach aches, anxiety, and depression. This is a dangerous style because anger builds over time, and one day you may explode and act out in a way in which you normally would not. Again, the problem is not solved in this style of anger because you are hurting yourself by pushing away your feelings. So what is the right way to deal with our anger? When you find yourself angry, remember the only behavior you can manage is your own. This means recognizing your anger cues and understanding how you typically handle your anger. Steps you can do when you feel anger coming on are walking away, counting to 10, taking deep breaths in and out. using calming self-talk such as, I can handle this, chill out, it's not as bad as it seems. And lastly, you can envision that you're in a peaceful place. Next, give yourself time to sort things out in your own way. You can write the problem down on paper. By doing this, you can visually see the problem and better understand and problem solve. Think the problem through and ask yourself, what really happened? How was I triggered? What were my anger cues? If you're having difficulty thinking it through on your own, talk with a friend or an adult you trust. Oftentimes, hearing the problem out loud can help us better problem solve. Lastly, turn your angry energy into a change for the better. Make sure you tell the person who made you angry how you feel in a respectful way. For example, if my best friend made me angry, I would just tell her, when you said this, I felt this. That is a respectful way to get your feelings across and let your friend know to ensure it doesn't happen in the future. Another way to create a positive experience from a negative one is to channel your angry energy into a physical activity. This could be running, playing a game of basketball, going for a walk, riding your bike, anything that will get your blood flowing. Everybody experiences anger in difficult situations. What matters is how you deal with these emotions and better manage your feelings. Next, we will be viewing a video clip on anger with a teenage boy and his father. right, so students will be asked to comment on their thoughts about the video. How do you think hammering the nails helped the boy handle his anger? Do you think this would help yourself? What was the representation of pulling the nails out of the fence? Do you think visually seeing the holes left behind helped the boy learn about his anger and his anger management? How would you have handled it, or handled a friend or sibling who was experiencing anger issues? After reviewing the video and learning our lesson, how would you help your friend or even yourself while dealing with anger? The last activity in which we'll be doing is a little more physical. We will be hanging up a large piece of paper on which covers the entire whiteboard. Once it is hung, each student will go up to the board and write down words of things that make them angry. The only rule is that there is no profanity or anything not school appropriate. So things could be like when my mom tells me to clean my room, that makes me angry. When I get a bad grade on a test. When I forget to study for a test, that makes me angry. I make myself angry. So these words or word phrases will be written on the piece of paper on the hypothetical whiteboard. Once each student has written down at least 3 things that make them angry, they will take turns dunking a wad of toilet paper or paper towel into a bucket of water and then chucking it at the word on the board. So they'll, one at a time, they'll go up there and throw the wet paper towel or toilet paper onto the board. Because it's paper, it sticks, and so it'll cover up their word or phrase of the thing that makes them angry. The students will be able to yell out the word as they throw it if they choose. This will release angry emotions in a healthy way, which does not harm anyone. Once each student has participated as a group, they will be allowed to tear down the paper. This will symbolically represent them tearing down their issues in which make them feel angry. Once cleanup is finished, students will be able to process how it felt to yell out their issues and what it was like to throw the wads of paper at their problem. Did it help? Do they feel better now? What was it like to physically tear down what makes them angry? So then we'll just be discussing what it was like to release their feelings of anger and visually seeing it on the board and being able to see what their classmates are feeling and if they have similar issues, then they can kind of talk through it as they participate in the activity. And that would conclude our guidance lesson on anger and anger management.